U.S. forces are engaged in a frantic search for a missing crew member after his plane was shot down in southern Iran on Friday. The pilot of the aircraft was rescued shortly after his F-15 fighter jet was destroyed in a remote area. More footage has emerged related to the incident. This video shows Iranian police firing at Black Hawk helicopters with small arms. 2 helicopters were used in the rescue mission. Reports say at least one was damaged. Iranian TV has also released footage said to show the wreckage of the downed aircraft. Iran is also searching hard for the missing crewman and has offered a reward to anyone who turns him in. John Feeley is a former American career diplomat and ambassador and former Marine Corps helicopter pilot. I asked him what happens after crew eject over hostile territory and how challenging the rescue mission is likely to be.
The first thing to keep in mind here, Michael, is that every American airman, and I say airman because there are pilots. In the case of this F-15E Eagle, there is one pilot and one weapons officer, also referred to as a WISO. You may see that terminology used. Every American airman is given what's called SEER training. SEER training is an acronym. It stands for Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. And it is a full course of training that is given prior to ever going into combat. You can't go into combat without it. That literally teaches those airmen how to survive, how to resist, how to escape and evade. And there are all kinds of techniques. There are all kinds of tactics they use. But the first thing that viewers should keep in mind is that that air crew member who ejected, one we know was already safely rescued, thank goodness, but that individual is going to be very prepared and trained to do exactly what he or she is doing right now.
Ambassador, I want to get to that eventually, but let's start from the perspective of the actual team going in to perform the rescue. What does the environment look like for this team? And I understand terrains can be different. Each context might be different depending on the situation. But just walk us through from the perspective of the team actually trying to do the rescue.
Absolutely. The first thing you're going to see is that they're going to depend heavily on the technology that the United States military brings to bear. There will be satellite imagery. There will be tomography. There will be all kinds of information brought together in a command center. There's actually a command, the Joint Rescue Personnel Command, that is run by the United States Air Force. And they will have a cell of that command operating, likely on a ship or perhaps at one of the 4th Fleet stations. I don't know where it is, but there'll be a command center. The team that will go in will be situationally dependent. If there is an indication that this is a rescue, if they identify the likelihood of where the downed crew member is, they may decide to send in a ground team. If they find out that the terrain is accessible by air, they may seek to do a helicopter extraction. There are any number of techniques that they might employ, but the most important thing is the intelligence that will inform the decision to give that go signal to a rescue team.
Who exactly are the rescuers, and what makes them uniquely capable of operating behind enemy lines?
The rescuers are always highly trained for precisely this mission. So in the Air Force, the United States Air Force, you have helicopter and fixed wing assets that are trained in doing grids. If the rescue is going to occur over water, then that's my old units. The Marine Corps and the Navy have specialized helicopters with equipment that will have sonar, that will have radar, that will have crew members. There will be emergency. Navy provides usually divers if there's a recovery mission. But in all of these teams, what they have done is literally 10,000 hours of practice. So they're highly, highly capable. Now, all of that said, this is perhaps one of the most uncertain missions that a U.S. military or any military can be given. And there is always room for error. And what there always is as well is a decentralization of command authority down to the lowest tactical unit. What that means is if, for example, a pilot spies what they think might be the airman trying to evade on the ground, there is a significant amount of leeway given to rescue that American fighting man or woman to the local on-scene commanders.
My understanding is that these are para-rescue jumpers or PJs, and that they're often referred to as the sort of Swiss Army knives of the U.S. Air Force. Why would that term be used?
PJs are very special individuals. And the reason is because they've been trained not only in parachute jumping, they have been trained in different types of geographic environments. They receive Arctic training. They receive desert training. They understand how to camouflage. In various topographical environments. They have got very, very specialized and high-powered communications equipment. So sometimes you'll see a little bit of like the Netflix, they're talking to the president in their ear cricket. That probably isn't happening. But the fact that they're going to be in almost constant communication with higher authorities and most importantly, with support units. They don't just get dropped in there. This is not like the World War II movies where, they go behind enemy lines and there's no tether back home. There will always be a communications tether. And usually there is a very quick on-call fire support tether and an evacuation tether if, in fact, they can have the good fortune of locating the downed individual for an immediate extraction. But the PJs are sort of like, think of when you have terrible forest fires. These are the guys who jump into the front lines, behind enemy lines, and they are highly, highly skilled at what they do.
Former American ambassador and U.S. Marine Corps helicopter pilot John Feeley.